Mueller report is expected in a matter of days. The Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein saying today that the report will clear up questions about Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. But how much will the American people actually get to see? How much will be redacted? And how many questions will remain? Joining me now to discuss is Congressman Jamie Raskin, a Maryland Democrat on the Judiciary Committee. Thank you, Congressman, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
When you heard the Attorney General testifying this week, giving credence to the president's paranoia, talking about alleged spying on the Trump campaign, what are your expectations that he will release the full Mueller report to Congress?
Look, he's acting like a paid federal public defender for Donald Trump. He's not acting remotely like an Attorney General of the United States, the kind that we've known in the past. And if this report were indeed fully exonerating, as the president keeps proclaiming, it would be at everybody's front doorstep, where it would have been 3 weeks ago. I think it leaves a very strong impression on the American people that this is a form of political editing that is taking place by the
It
AG.
is interesting to have, so much redaction and color coding. Who knows? They said it's grand jury. But I think the American people are smart enough to figure it out on their own without all of the
and remember, it's always been Congress in the past which has made those 6E grand jury deletions or excisions. It's not been the Attorney General who's done it.
So I want to ask you about, there's an interview in the Wall Street Journal where the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein defends his boss's handling of the Mueller report. He says William Barr is being, and this is a quote, being as forthcoming as he can, and that the public should have, another quote, tremendous confidence in Barr. After what Barr said in testimony, what do you think about Rosenstein's characterization?
Well, I think that the Attorney General came very close to just discrediting himself by buying into the whole debunked deep state conspiracy theory about how the Department of Justice was out to get the president. Look, we don't know what's in the Mueller report, but whether it shows there was lots of evidence or just the evidence we know of the Trump Tower meeting with the Russian emissaries, even if it's just the stuff we already know, there clearly was enough evidence to give alarm to people in the Department of Justice, people in the FBI, to do their job. I mean, on much less evidence, in fact, on no evidence at all, the AG is now saying that there was spying against the Trump campaign. And by the way, the spying that he's talking about, if he's talking about FISA warrants, those were issued by Republican FISA court judges.
Several different judges at different points.
Yeah, and they were following the law to do it. So it's just remarkable to me that the Attorney General of the United States will, without any evidence at all, buy into this completely deranged theory about spying on the Trump campaign.
Yeah, it's a conspiracy theory echo chamber. It seems like. We learned today about the president's plan to release migrants detained at the border into largely Democratic and what they call sanctuary cities. What could he possibly be hoping to accomplish?
It's just a totally illogical plan that makes no sense. It would be as if President Obama had said, we're going to release sick people with no health insurance on the states that refuse to engage in the Medicaid expansion and to accept federal funding for it. It just doesn't make any sense. The two things don't match up.
Before we run out of time, I just want to get this in because this Congress has just passed the 100-day mark. In a preview of an appearance on 60 Minutes this weekend, the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi indicated change might be coming. Listen to this.
Why doesn't anything get done?
Well, we just started. We just started. It was 3 months since we were in office.
But you're talking about 100 days. This president's been in office for 2 years plus.
And we've been here 3 months. Hey, may I introduce you to the idea of the power of the speaker is to set the agenda.
Can you give us a glimpse of what Democrats, what the agenda is?
Well, we just passed the Violence Against Women Act reauthorization. We just passed the Paycheck Fairness Act for equal pay for women and men in America. We passed the first gun safety legislation in more than 2 decades for a universal, comprehensive criminal and mental background check on all firearm purchases in the country to close the gun show loophole, close the internet loophole. That's favored by 97% of the American people. Our counterparts didn't even have a hearing on that in the last 2 years. We're fighting for prescription drug reform to give the government the power to negotiate with the big pharma companies for lower prescription drug prices in Medicare. That's a power we've got in Medicaid and the VA. If you check out our positive program, we are fighting for the American people every single day against the most lawless and corrupt administration of our lifetime. So we're playing defense for the Constitution and the rule of law. We're playing offense for the American people.
Congressman Raskin, appreciate